Hello students, welcome to Medchal Buddy video classes. I am K. Swapna, ACA Social Studies, working at ZPHS Srirangavaram, Medchal Mandal. Students, today we are going to discuss about the lesson Sustainable Development with Equity. Sustainable Development. It is the development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Students, let us learn what sustainable development is and see in this lesson how our can take steps to achieve it. And also in this lesson, we will learn about many environmental problems and think of solutions to them. Sustainable development goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitization, etc. etc. As a measure of development, Human Development Index is an improvement over GDP and per capita income. Whereas GDP is an indicator of the value of goods and services produced in the country, the idea of progress can hardly be limited to production of goods and services. This is more so when rapid expansion of production and incomes can coexist with malnutrition and lack of education and health for a large proportion of the people, as it is the case in India. HDI expands the measuring of development to include social indicators of education and health. There are, however, many other considerations that even this expanded measure of development does not capture. In India, more than 90% of the workforce is in the unorganized sector, where the conditions of work are not encouraging at all. Incomes of both self-employment and wage workers in the unorganized sector are generally low. At times, pitiably so, with such a high percentage of workforce in low-paid employment, increase in GDP, and the enormous variety of goods and services being produced can benefit only select groups. People with high income and wealth are ones who have all the choice in the world to buy and consume, while some enjoy world-class living comforts. The vast majority, without proper employment and adequate incomes, are still deprived of minimum necessities for decent living. Such wide inequalities in incomes and opportunities across people cannot be the basis for a just society. GDP. GDP refers to total value of goods and services produced in the country in a year. HDI takes into account the social indicators like education, health, along with income. Did we already know about GDP about HDI? And GDP only thinks about per capita income. HDI is all about education, health related things. Observe the graph. This graph indicates to distribution of households in India based on annual income. It gives details of rich people, middle class, below middle class and poor people. 3 million households with annual income above 17 lakh rupees are classified as rich. 31 million households with annual income between rupees 3.4 to 17 lakh are grouped as middle class. 71 million households whose income is between 1.5 to 3.4 lakh rupees come under aspirers. 135 million households with annual income below 1.5 lakh rupees are classified as deprived. It clearly reveals the unequal distribution of wealth among various sections in India. One more graph. The above graph shows the total wealth held by billionaires in billion rupees. When compared to 1996 and 2004, the total wealth held by billionaires had enormous increase by 2011. The above graph shows increase in the number of billionaires. There were 3 billionaires in 1996, 9 billionaires in 2004, but the number of billionaires 56 in 2011, which shows an enormous increase between 2004 and 2011. Observe the picture. The first one is Dharavi slum in Mumbai, one of the largest colonies in which the urban poor of India lives. The second picture, a view of Banjara Hills, Hyderabad, an area where the rich in Hyderabad lives. Another major criticism of economic development focused narrowly on GDP springs from its negligence of the environment. In various contexts, we have seen how the environmental resources have been used up and damaged to an unprecedented extent in the course of economic growth. Some important environmental issues: deforestation, soil erosion, lowering groundwater tables, increasing pollution, pressure on grazing land, rising dependence on fossil fuels, industrial emissions, use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture, climate change. Deforestation, soil erosion, increasing pollution, industrial emissions, lowering groundwater tables, climate change, pressure on grazing land, use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides in agriculture. In this chapter, we will explore the relationship between development, the environment and people. How has expansion of economic activities affected different aspects of the environment? What has development meant for people's access and rights to natural resources and their lives? Can there be different models of development? We will seek answers to these questions through lived issues and people's lived experiences. Let us start by recalling the role of environment in development. Many naturally exciting substances like land, water, minerals and ores, products from trees and animals are central to the production process in primary sector activities, agriculture, mining, quarrying and in the manufacturing and energy sector. Production is hugely dependent on natural resources. The other sectors of the economy too are dependent on natural resources in various degrees. The potential of the environment to provide these resources is referred to as an environmental source function. This function is depleted as resources are consumed or pollution contaminates the resources. The environment functions, there are two. One source function and another is sink function. The ability to provide natural resources, this function is depleted as resources are consumed or pollution contaminates the resources. Sink function, the ability to observe and render harmless waste and pollution when waste output exceeds the limit of the sink function. Long-term damage to the environment occurs. In the past 50 years, the economic development, both these functions of the environment have been overused. This has been said to affect the carrying capacity of the environment. The capacity of the environment to support economic production and consumption in the future. Look at few examples. Example 1. As per the traditional practices, the lifting of water was limited to supplemental irrigation or for a small area. For example, with Motabavi, only 2 to 3 acres can be irrigated. Agriculture was limited to rainy season and large areas were rained drylands. Over time, with new energy resources pump sets that work with petrol, diesel and electricity came into picture. The impact has to be seen in two phases. Initially, there were relief from drudgery. Lifting of water became very easy with pumps. Water was also available in plenty. Open wells had water at 10 to 15 feet deep, at most 100 feet depth. However, with the lifting of groundwater by electric and motor pumps, water table started going down. So much so that some areas groundwater is being drawn from a few hundred feet deep. Problems that we face while using groundwater. Do we know how much groundwater is being used and how can we conserve it now? Today, groundwater is the major source of water for people. There is reckless extraction of groundwater for different purpose. Overuse of groundwater implies that the stock of groundwater is depleting. It affects the stock of water that would be available for future generations. There is no limit for extraction of groundwater. Hence, there should be some restrictions. Water should be used in the sustainable way. Water is a public property. It belongs to all, but not private property to over-extract. Some suggestions to improve level of groundwater. Stop reckless digging of bore wells. Build percolation tanks, soaking pits. Save rainwater by constructing check dams. Continuous contour trenches. Plant the trees. Overuse of groundwater implies that the stock of groundwater is depleting. The groundwater has been falling to lower levels very rapidly. The quality of groundwater is deteriorating along with the quantity. In 59% of districts of India, water from hand pumps and wells is unsafe for drinking. This is because of contamination of groundwater from chemical industrial waste from agriculture and industry. Water is being used as a sink to dump all kinds of waste and toxic substances. This is not easily reversible. We will see the consequences of this in the next example. This pattern of development is in direct contrast to what sustainable development stands for. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In other words, a better quality of life for everyone now and for generations to come. However, the extent of our current resource use is such that the chances of future generations to have access to their fair share of scarce resources are endangered. Moreover, the consequences of our resource use in terms of impact on the environment may induce serious damages that go beyond the carrying capacity of the environment. Another example, Silent Spring, Rachel Carson. The Rachel Carson on use of DDT for mosquito control. DDT sprayed for control of mosquitoes pollutes lake where the water flows in. The poison in DDT gets deposited in the bodies of the fishes. The birds eating the fishes die due to high dose of poison in DDT. Her findings area clear example of how human action irreversibly destroys nature and human beings themselves. In the year 1962, Rachel Carson wrote in the book Silent Spring about the impact of spraying DDT for mosquito control on birds and the human beings. Substances like heavy metals contained in pesticides do not decompose from the environment but instead accumulate inside living organisms. Thus, the poison in DDT gets deposited in the body of the fishes in the lakes where the water containing DDT flows. The poison is too small quantity to kill the fishes, but if one bird eats several fishes, the combined dose of the chemical inside the fishes is lethal enough for the bird. Rachel Carson also showed the insects like mosquitoes quickly develop resistance to DDT sprays. Her findings are a clear example of how human action irreversibly destroys nature and human beings themselves. One more example, endosulfan stopped in Kerala. In 1976, endosulfan, a pesticide, was sprayed to protect cashew crop from pest by the government of Kerala in Kasaragod district. The air, water and entire environment was suffused with the pesticide as treatment continued for some 25 years. As a result of the spraying, at least 5,000 people have died and many others have serious health problems. At last, the spraying of endosulfan has been banned due to court order citing violation of right to life. This is not an isolated incident particular to the area. Numerous studies point to the overuse of pesticides in modern agriculture and its impact on the environment and people. Ironically, only the 1% of the pesticide actually acts on the pest. The rest goes into our system through food, water and the environment. Thank you, students.